we've been talking about the topic when silence stops protecting, and this play itself, there are so many secrets going on that just end up spiraling.
Oh yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the theme.
Yeah, I mean, I think the theme for Daisy is so interesting because everyone is very well known with the book. And in the book, Daisy is very silenced. We don't actually hear very much from her, but our book writer, when writing the musical, Kate Kerrigan, she brought so much more to Daisy to the table, and you get to see so much more of her personality. You get to see more of her best friend, Jordan. You know, that whole conversation they have, it doesn't even exist in the book. It's not even a scene that exists. And so I love that she gave these characters agency and reason to make all these choices that they make throughout the story, which I think is so beautiful.
And when a voice finally comes forward, everything shifts.
How emotional is it for you when you're playing one of those roles that you know is really tugging on the hearts of the audience?
It's so hard. It's so hard. And I think sometimes people don't realize it when they come and watch, because it's one thing to come and watch one show, but I think what people don't think about is that we do it 8 times a week. Sometimes we do it twice a day. And so getting into that mindset every day, it's very hard, it's very challenging. And I talk about it with my castmates all the time. And we're kind of always there for each other. After the really hard scenes, we give each other a little high five in the wings. And we're like, okay, the moment's over. And we're like, we're not in that moment anymore. And so we have a really good support system here to kind of get through those really hard themes that the show does have.
Well, you're touching on something that I think people forget, because when you are an actor, you do have to live in those moments of death, betrayal, all these different things. How do you mentally prepare for that?
I think, at least for me, I know every actor kind of deals with it in their own way, but for me, I really just like to put myself in their shoes and put myself in that scenario. And for me as Daisy, I think during the show, what would I do if the love of my life showed up 5 years later out of the blue? I'm already married to someone else. I like to joke around that this is kind of like Wuthering Heights meets The Notebook kind of story, when people don't really know what Gatsby is about. And it really is about that lost love. And it's like, what do you do?
What do you do when the truth no longer stays quiet?
On this topic of owning your story and all these different chapters, you are a daughter of immigrants. What has it been like owning this stage and this moment for you as you?
Yeah, I mean, it means so much. I grew up watching theater and I grew up watching tours in the Bay Area, and there wasn't always people that looked like me on stage. And to come from a family who doesn't usually do musical theater, you know, everyone on my parents' side, my dad was born and raised in Afghanistan. My mom was born and raised in the Philippines. All of them are either doctors, lawyers, or nurses. And so for me to do theater is very out of the realm of what my family does. But I really couldn't ask for a better support system. You know, there was always the, are you sure? You know, when I was applying to college, it was like, are you sure? You know, when I was applying to college, I made this deal with my parents. I thought I was gonna go into pre-med, but I made a deal with them that I would apply to one theater school. It was NYU. And if I got in, I would have to do theater. And I got into NYU. And so so I was like, sorry, I have to do theater now. But I love it, and I couldn't imagine my life going any other way. But it really does mean so much to be able to represent other people who also want to do this, but they didn't really grow up in households where it felt like it was a job and a normal thing to want to aspire to do, you know?
What made you know that theater might be your thing as a young kid?
I grew up singing at a very young age. You know, my Filipino side, my family loves to do karaoke, and they love to sing. And so I was always the cousin who would wrangle everybody and make up a show for all of the parents. And I just always loved doing that. And that's just when I felt the most like me, you know? And so when I was applying to colleges, it kind of just felt right. And now I really can't imagine myself doing anything else.